welcome to the other side of now. I'm Cheryl, and today I get the honor of introducing my really special friend, my friend of my heart, Pam Anderson, who is going to be talking about her cranialsacral work. Now, what I want to say about her work is this. I've experienced what I'm going to call more traditional cranialsacral work when I went for physical therapy, and it's beautiful. It was beautiful. But Pam's cranialsacral work is truly in a league of its own, because when you go with her, you feel so spiritually based, and she's so heart-centered that as you lie on her table, you feel so safe, so wrapped up, like I feel like cocooned in love, that it allows my body to just open up and lovingly speak to Pam with or without words. And this love that I talk about with Pam is so pure. Of course, I'm going to try to say it without crying, because I always cry with emotions. But she is a living example of what loving and purity is all about. Whether you're having a conversation with Pam, whatever your experience is, she walks this walk of love. And so it is a gift that, you think about the people that you surround yourself with, the energy. And I know anytime I'm with Pam, it is going to end. I'm going to leave, and I'm going to be filled with love and joy. And how beautiful is that? So Pam, thank you. Thank you for the gift of you, and thank you for joining us today. I love
Thank you. Firstly, thank you for allowing me to be here, all four of you. This is just an amazing process, and this sharing and giving that you are creating in this platform, it's able to reach so many people. So thank you for that gift. Also, thank you for this time. Know that you are absolutely my heart. And to spend this time with you and to share this with you and with others is such a gift. So I'm in my gratitude to you.
Thank you. Well, you know what? As people are hearing this pod, what I have to say is, I've got to give them the little sidebar story of us, because that's what we all are. We're about sidebar stories here. So I met Pam in her yoga class. And so Pam is also a beautiful yoga instructor, again, in a league of its own. But anyways, at the end of the class, I'm walking out, and I hear, I don't even know really Pam now. I hear her talk about the fact that going to a wedding that weekend and needs a dress, right? So this is how we work together. I don't, like, without even question, with just a knowing, I go off and shop for her.
Doesn't even know me.
Don't tell, right? Oh, I pick up, I don't know, 2 or 3. I don't even remember.
Or
I don't know her size, but of course I know her size.
yeah.
I don't know her likes, but of course I know her likes. I get them. And just with these, just drive over her house. She tries them on. Like, there's nothing odd about me appearing at her house with 4 dresses. Oh, no. She tries them on. Oh, we take it further. We call Al. Al comes over. He gives his input. And it's just this seamless knowing that our hearts have just known each other forever. So it's just that's so beautiful. But anyways, we could get off on this love fest, and I know people are interested in cranialsacral, so let me get back to that. In one of our episodes, Cheryl talked about the fact that she experienced cranialsacral when she had postpartum. And I had opened up how you had helped me through your work in opening up that place of self-love. Mm-hmm. And so with that, I think it's a great place to start. Like, why do people even come for cranialsacral? Why should they go? What
That's a great question. It's a beautiful question. Um, People come for craniosacral for a myriad. There's so many reasons, from depression, anxiety, broken bones, broken hearts, brain tumors. Like there's nothing that you wouldn't, that at least the work that I'm doing, couldn't support you in healing. So there's so many reasons. There's nothing beyond, and some people for stress reduction, um, for becoming aware of their feelings, their life, being more present in themselves is pretty much what it comes down to. But really, anything there isn't anything, that you couldn't go for. Um, if I may, the reason that is because again, I can only speak how I work. But the reason that is because you come to cranial sacral or the work that I'm doing, um, based it out of the heart. You come knowing that you're doing the work, that it's about you and your process. That I don't see you as broken. I don't see you as needing to be fixed. You are whole and pure and beautiful where you are, and you're in your experience. And so, again, I can only speak to how I practice. I'm holding that space and hopefully unteasing and allowing you to know where and how you are in this moment. So again, you're not broken. You don't need to be fixed. That there is some, unearthing of who and what you are, and being able to get to the root of you, to the highest you, that higher self, without things that are in the way.
Right. And I think that's so beautiful, so well said, of course, because this is a journey where we are trying to be in control of ourselves and not give that power away to other people. And with you, you really do feel that power of your own wisdom, that you're guiding it. You're allowing us to feel safe and loved, to allow that to come through. It's really beautiful. So let's go on that journey. My body just all of a sudden like lies down at the table, and so I know you always begin at the feet. So
Mhm.
take us through that.
So the first thing I do is I hold on to the ankles. And in that, I will say, I say it inside from my body to your body. So in craniosacral therapy, you and I may be talking. So some people are very comfortable talking about their feelings or emotions, and some people would rather talk about their sports or a recipe they're working on or something
Yeah,
like that. Yeah, exactly.
my husband. Yeah, yeah.
Exactly, right? And so honoring that. So I come in and I'll put my hands on your ankles and I'll hold your ankles, and there's something called arcing. And so I'll close my eyes. And so the first thing I personally do is I close my eyes and I let your body know that it is in charge, that it is completely in charge, that it knows way more than I will ever know, and that I'm being graced by being in its presence. Sorry, I always get emotional because it's so real.
Oh, oh,
And so, what it is ready and comfortable sharing, I'm here to hear. And so, I say, you're in charge. There's no rush, there's no force. And then when I close my eyes, the arcing, I hold the ankles, I hold the heels. And there's this slight holding and not a pulling, but I hold on. And then when I open my eyes, I can see, I call it see feel. I can see things in the body that the body's saying, oh, let's go here, let's go there. And so that's the first part of the process is it highlights things. Some people tell me things when they get there, some people don't. It doesn't matter because the body will show me and tell us where we're going, where the two of us are going on the path of that time together.
yeah. Wow. And so when our body is talking to you,
Mhm.
how do you experience that? Like how would you explain that to people? Because some people are uncomfortable with that. I
Yeah.
love it, but like
Yeah.
some
Yeah. So again, so many different options. Sometimes I hear things. Sometimes I see things. Sometimes I hear stories. Sometimes I see color. Sometimes I smell things. Um, it really, sometimes I see kind of movies of things. Um, it really depends.
Right.
I
That's
can
so
see that.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Now, I know Cottrell had mentioned that when she was on the table, she was what held her back. There was this, I don't know if fear is the right word, but this
Right.
concern that maybe her energy was speaking to something not godlike, something, some unknown energy. And she felt very like she was really respecting, being very sacred and safe with herself. And that kind of held her back. Can you talk about that at all?
So first, I have to say, again, in my belief system, what Cottrell did is exactly what I believe in, honoring exactly where and how you are. None of this work is telling you that you're wrong, telling you that you need to do it differently, telling you that you have to believe in something that none of that. That's not, again, I can only speak of my work. None of that is what cranial sacral or what I call heart space, it's other work I do, is about. It's about really being in and with yourself. And so knowing that whoever is with you, they're in service to you. I'm in service to who I'm with. It is not my agenda. It's not my thought pattern. It's not anything that I believe has to look or be a certain way to have healing come. It's within that person. And again, I'm holding space for that person and allowing what is in their highest good to become available, but safely. So I say kudos to Cottrell for being loving and kind and gentle to herself and saying, this doesn't resonate for me. I need to pause. I've worked with many people who have very strong spiritual beliefs, and some very strong religious beliefs, and that's something that we talk about really openly and from the beginning, that this is talking to their highest good. This is not another god. This isn't something outside of the beauty and the wisdom that they have within them. So that's really, really important. This, I believe, comes from within. This is their beauty.
Oh, see why I love her? um, so now, for the people that really like to, I mean, and we all like to hear the science behind it. Can you speak a little bit about that, like, you know, how
Absolutely.
that works from that perspective?
Absolutely. So for craniosacral therapy, I was trained with the Upledger Institute. Dr. John Upledger, who has recently passed, and I'll just show you, like, explain a little part of it. But what we're doing is we're first feeling. It came about when he noticed that the fluid from the tailbone all the way washing over the brain, that there was a quality to it, that there was a cadence to it, there was an amplitude. And so what we do is we can actually feel cranial sacral therapy. People come and when I go to other piece parts of their body, they say, "Oh, I thought you were going to work on my head." So we go to where the body directs us. So I'm just trying to collect it in an intelligent fashion. When we first learn, we go to following that flow and watching that flow, and notice that then when we do, there's a 10-step protocol when you're first learning. When you do a 10-step protocol, you can actually see and feel how that flow has changed. As you work more and more doing different parts of, I've been trained in lymph drainage and brain therapy and somato-emotional work. But as you do more and more, you start to realize that, oh, this shoulder pain, they're saying that there's a shoulder pain and there's something happening there, but it might be from the fascia. So first we start with as you said, the scientific part. We can feel the fluid going up and down from the sacrum to the washing over the brain. We can feel that. But then we start to feel restriction. So there's a restriction maybe from the fascia. There's maybe that's all over the body. That there's a muscle pull. So there's other parts that you can actually feel and start to work. Or like I had a marathoner come in, and she didn't really believe in the work. And her patella wasn't gliding well. And so we worked with her patella and allowed the muscles around it, and the patella was able to glide again, and she didn't have the pain. So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah.
There's so much behind it. There's so many beautiful stories behind it.
Yeah.
Yeah, too many to name
That
today.
it really is amazing. As you are talking about sensations, I'm thinking about as I lie on your table. And I remember the first time I said to you, Pam, your hands are like so hot. And
Yes,
it wasn't your hands, it was my energy being released. And
correct. And isn't it amazing? Me.
I mean, stuff like that is it's so wild. Or I loved it the last time as you were like working on my throat and you're like, oh, is this comfortable? Like always making sure I'm safe and comfortable. Meanwhile, I'm like, I can't even breathe anymore because all that was needing to be released for
Yeah.
me to use my voice. I mean, it's just beautiful. It really is.
And it is amazing too because those sensations come up, and so it's sometimes it's nice to have and to have that knowing of that sensation, or for someone to feel like, oh, your hands are really hot, and for them to realize, oh no, it's not actually. So I've done this with many people. They're like, your hands are so hot on this spot, and I'll take my hand out and I'll, ask permission, of course, and then put my hand on their cheek, and they'll realize, oh, it's not my hand, it's them. Exactly, that is the body is releasing things. There's energy cysts in the body. There's emotions that are in the body. There's a glare that's in a body that someone gave you a long time ago, whatever it is, there's so much that's stored and held in there. And if we can release that and create this sense of freedom and joy and safety, right?
Right.
That's we're
Right.
safe in our bodies, in our beings. It's amazing. Yeah.
It is amazing. I'm thinking of all different times that I've come to see you, some physically based, some emotionally based. It's run the gamut. Remember when I came to you and I was going to have a hysterectomy? And I remember one of the things you said to me is, so have you prepared your body? And I said, oh, I'm not sure. So
Yeah.
talk about that. That was so beautiful how you helped me to understand that. Now I do it all the time.
Yeah. So I love that, and I believe it's really important to do that whether we're having surgery or not, but to have these ongoing really loving conversations with your body. So before you have a surgery, before you go into a big meeting, before you go into something that it might be heightened anyway, to have
Yeah.
this wonderful conversation. So if you're like, to use your hysterectomy for an example, to have a conversation and explain, okay,
Yeah.
we're doing this in service of you. We're
Right.
really careful. We've done all the work. We've talked to the physicians. We have faith and trust in them. And also, we know that you can do this. And you let me know anything that I need to do that will help you feel better, that will help you feel safe, that will help you heal. But you don't have to fight against what's happening because our bodies, that's what they do. They're so smart and they have such wisdom that they say, oh, you're going inside me. I don't want that to happen. It could create resistance. And you say, oh, and you explain, just like you would,
Right.
you were taking a 2-year-old in to have them, maybe look at their teeth or go to the doctor. You'd explain to them.
Yeah.
You'd say, this is what's happening in this beautiful, loving way. You'd let them know how it is and why it is, and that it was okay, and that again that they were safe in that. So having those conversations, I talk to my body every day, and I thank it for what it's doing. I remind it to let me know if I'm not listening, because if I'm not listening, it's just going to get louder. And so if I can listen at the whisper, then it won't have to yell.
Oh, that's so good for all of us to hear and to remind ourselves because I I do it many days, but I don't do it every day. So that's a beautiful reminder for me to make sure that I'm giving myself that space each day to do that. Thank you. Um, so another example I had wanted to talk to you about because I would only talk about this in safety with you too, but I think what's amazing and what we're opening up our listeners to and in just a soft, like loving way is that I know I've been on your table before when all of a sudden I've had images come into my mind.
Mm-hmm.
And they're images that clearly are not from this life.
Mm-hmm.
And so in that moment, I'm not even sure why I'm there, what's going to happen. But again, I always just feel safe. And what's always beautiful is that you meet me there. So as I'm saying something, you're seeing it and you're adding to that in a way that allows me to step a little bit closer to looking at it. And I think what is so beautiful is this understanding that in the wisdom of our body, we can carry this energy, and it could be from another life. But it's a pattern that no longer is serving our body. And our body is trying lovingly to tell us it's time to look at that, time to capture that wisdom, that gift behind it, and move forward. And so what I'm so thankful to you is that day when I saw that cave and knew that I was standing out there filled with fear, filled with all of this unknowing trepidation, but feeling it, and knowing I was there because I did not want to. You very lovingly met me at that place and said, Cheryl, your body is telling you very clearly you do not need to go in there. It was such a beautiful movement together that we went through that I could hear that and know that that's right. I am in control. And to take it then a step further, because I felt so safe there with you, it empowered my body because I was the one in control. And I said, no, I'm going in because I wanted to rewrite that energy. I wanted to let it go, release it and rewrite it. So people, are curious, what is this rewrite? What does that mean? I was holding on to an energy that no longer served me. And so now in this moment, with this awareness that I was in control, I was rewriting that energy to say, I'm going to enter. I'm going to allow my emotions, like feel this pain, let it all be released. I'll honor that, let it go. But in that power of knowing that I am in control of me, I am safe. No one is going to have that control over me anymore. The power is within me. All of those kinds of things. And together we did it. It was so beyond beautiful and really life changing. And I know every session on your table isn't, or maybe it is for people, that magnitude, but some of these experiences I've had with you really are just another level. So
yeah.
Thank you. Thank you
For sharing that.
I know you also share a beautiful, if you would, you've shared this with me before, and I know you have permission to, about a girl that you've worked with. Do you know?
Yeah. Yes. So when Cheryl and I were talking about getting together and trying to explain how this work is, because it is so very different, and I will say so many people that are referred to me, and they come through the door and they say, I don't know why I'm here, but so-and-so said, just go. And they'd say, well, why? And they're like, I don't know. I can't explain what it is, but something happens when you're there. And so years and years, decades ago now, this beautiful little 9-year-old came with her mom, and she had been having really significant eating issues, significant pain, not able to eat, not able to take in nutrition at all. And she had upper and lower GI. She had every medical test possible, and they just didn't know what to do for her.
Yeah.
So she came for a session, And the moms, particularly when they're that young, are always with me. So the three of us are in the room, and we're just chatting. And we're not talking about anything. She's 9, right? So we're not going in deep about having what's happening in her body. But I let her know, I before I touch her, I let her know where I'm going to touch her, and is it okay, and give her, that, oh, it's not okay, it is okay. And so we were there in the room, and they had just moved from Australia, and so we talked some, and then the mom, and they came back a second time. So the first time it came was talking and casual. And the second time when she was with me, they started talking about the move and how they had moved from Australia. And then her body said something when she said something about her dad. And so what I did was I asked questions that weren't painful or upsetting. But so while I'm talking to you, as I'm talking now out loud, I'm hearing stories and bits and pieces from her body. And outwardly, it appeared as though we were just talking about that they moved, that the dad moved first and it was for his business, and they had to wait and they had to close up the house, and then they had to move months and months later. And that's where it came from. There was a piece of her feeling like she didn't know what was happening or how things were happening. Felt very out of control. It felt very scary. And after that second session with me, all of the eating issues went away. And we didn't actually outwardly talk about that there was this trauma, but her body had held on to it and had this understanding of what it thought it was, and it let it go, and she was able to eat again. And so I just saw her twice, and that was the end of it. It was
Wow.
amazing.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so all of this brings us to hot space,
Yeah.
right? So, when I started at the beginning of this interview talking about the fact that you were so heart centered, it is the journey of your work and who you are and what you just breathe that brings you to this beautiful work that you do now that you've launched. So, tell us about it.
Oh, thank you. So as you and I have talked about for decades, again, everything in our belief system is based in love. And so um, what I realized was with cranialsacral therapy, or I'm a certified Iyengar teacher, or with meditations, but the work I do, sometimes it felt as though there were some pieces and parts that would make people, similar to what happened with
Cottrell. Yeah.
Cheryl, thank you. I could get up. Similar to that, it made them feel like it was too much. They kind of had to take a step back.
Yeah.
And then I have to say, it didn't. It was all of a sudden downloaded, and so HeartSpace was created.
Yeah.
And so HeartSpace is a step-by-step, a 5-step protocol that's accessible for all, that any age can do, any spiritual background can do. It's based in the self, and what it is, it's a step-by-step protocol for us to do, whether we're at work and use it, whether we're with relationships, we're with ourselves. And it's this way for us to really lovingly go about our life, go about every aspect of our life and our living in a loving, kind, genuine, compassionate way, really honoring where we are and how we are. And so what I see over and over again in other people, and really in myself, this came from myself, is all of the judgments, all of the greater consciousness, all of the stories, all of the ideas that I thought were real or that were assigned to me that weren't me, from my gender, from my socioeconomic background, from any and all things that I picked up that I misread from other people, that I created and I held on to and I stored. And then with this step-by-step process, you can remove that. So you can do this heart space session. You could do, it's 6, well, it's actually 7 sessions. It's 6 weeks in a row. And then 6 months later, we get together again. But you can go in and do this heart space method and do it the rest of your life and realize, oh, wait, what she just said, I'm creating a story around that, and that's interrupting our relationship. What I believe is that whatever, if anything, when I create a story, when I create a judgment, when I live in a story and I live in judgment, it's only interrupting my ability to have a relationship, whether it's with me or with somebody else. If I'm going to have a relationship with anybody, again, whether it's me or with you, I want it to be a whole, full, real relationship, which means it's not from what I think I know or what I've decided or what I'm putting on you. It's from based in truth, a pure truth based out of love.
Oh. So what if people now want to do this? Because I know you're doing it on Zoom and stuff like that, or they want to connect with you, whatever. How would they do that? How would they connect with you?
So if they'd like to, admittedly, I have a website for I have a website for heartspacemethod.com. I'm saying it hesitantly only because I'm not a technological guru by any stretch of the means. So really
Join
just
the
has exactly. So you could go on that, or you can go on PamelaAndersonYoga.com. But you can contact me if that's the easiest part, and my information's all there. So that probably be the easiest because I'm not very technologically savvy.
Oh my gosh, but what they would experience. That's beautiful. I love it. I love it. So now, before we close off, do you have just like a couple of, or one or two thoughts that you might want to share with us during this challenging time of the COVID, you know, period?
So again, Cheryl and I touched base on this briefly, and I have all these ideas, but there's a couple that come to mind. One is keep coming back to your breath. If you pause, see your breath come in, see your breath come out. Taking those moments to pause, not changing your breath, not making it deeper, because sometimes when we have anxiety, actually breathing a deeper breath is harder. So watching your breath, being a loving observer of your breath is a beautiful thing to do. Another thing that is part of cranialsacral therapy is you take two tennis balls and you put them in a sock, and you put them down the end of the sock, and they're right next to each other, and you tie the sock so the balls are right next to each other, and then you lay back and you put them right on the head, not on the neck but on the head, and it's called a still point inducer. And so you can buy them, but you can do it with tennis balls. And that's another way when we were talking about that fluid, watching the fluid go back and forth. I reference this when you lay back on the still point inducer like that, or you're having a treatment, it's kind of like rebooting the computer. You know, sometimes we have to turn the computer off or turn our phones off when it's a little glitchy, and we turn it back on. So laying on that can help with insomnia, it can help with fevers, it can help with stress, it can help with anxiety. So that's another really beautiful, tangible thing that you can do that could help during this time. Can I say one more thing?
Yeah, go for it.
So what the other thing is, I've been saying to anybody who will listen, the only thing you need to do during COVID is get through COVID. Meaning, kind, loving, gentle with yourself, compassionate. You don't have to write your first novel. You don't have to get in the best shape of your life. Kind, loving, gentle, thoughtful way of being with your body. Knowing it's hard for you, knowing it's hard for others.
Yeah.
And then bringing that compassion to all around us, because it's not an easy time.
Right.
But if we can be together in that hard time, it'll be a little easier.
Oh, well, Pam, thank you so much for today. I love you beyond words. It's been an honor having you on the show, and how wonderful for everyone to get their experience of craniosacral and heart space through your words, your love. So thank you. And thank you to everyone out there who has tuned us in today. Let's continue to stay connected as we travel this journey together in love. So till next time, bye-bye.